Well, let's get some business news now. And join us here in the studio is reporter Edward Boyd. Ed, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. So auction rates over the weekend, how'd we go?
Went very well. There were 2,500 houses up for sale over the weekend and they had a clearance rate at auction of 77%. If we look back just 1 week ago, it was 1,600 houses for sale. So the market is more and more houses are coming onto the market for sale and the auction rate is actually strengthening. So we're seeing a lot of buyer... That's national. That's a national figure. So we're seeing a lot of buyer confidence coming back into the housing market.
That's good news indeed if you are a home owner. Not so good if you're probably looking to get into the housing market. And this is always, a tale of two subsections of the community as well. So, look, I guess if you're a first home buyer, you're looking at what the market's doing at the moment and thinking, what are the predictions for this year? Do you know what those predictions are? I mean, are we gone of the days where we've seen 20 to 30% of prices in Sydney, at least?
Well, at the moment, house prices seem to be going up in Sydney about 1 to 2% a month right now. So smaller growth than what we were seeing a few years ago at the height of the market. So if you're a first home buyer at the moment, you're probably thinking, gee, this could be the time to really get into the market and get a property before it blows out. I don't have a home myself. I'm starting to look.
Yeah, you're not alone there, but... is this exceeding expectations? I mean, we are in peak season here, of course, where things are usually high, particularly in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane to an extent.
Yeah. I mean, the year has just kicked off.
Yep.
We've had a slow couple of first month and a bit of the market, and now, end of February, it's really picking up towards peak season, and I think we've got 2,500 homes across the country. We haven't actually peaked yet. I think it's going to happen further into the year.
Well, Kevin Brogan spoke to you yesterday. We might just see what he had to say.
Clearance rate 77.7% on a combined capital city weighted average. In Sydney we had just over 900 auctions with a clearance rate of 81.5% and the highest sale at almost $8.5 million. While in Melbourne we had actually what's often termed a super Saturday with over 1,000 auctions on the day and 1,200 auctions for the week. And a clearance rate there of 79.6% and the highest sale just over $4 million.
So what does that say? Wages are flat, growth's flat, everything else seems flat, but the housing market is going ahead in leaps and bounds. People only too happy to get themselves into debt at the moment.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe a lot of this is partly investor driven. People already own a home and they're looking to add to their portfolio as a way to have a sort of nice asset that can give them good growth over a 20 or 30 year period. But yeah, I'm not really sure what's really driving this.
Money's never been so cheap, I guess.
That's right, yeah.
Interest rates so low. It is reporting season. We've seen some interesting results from some of Australia's biggest companies over the last couple of weeks. The coronavirus is obviously weighing, well, not on the market so much, but it's certainly weighing on the minds of the Treasurer in Canberra.
It's weighing on the minds of everyone. It's weighing on sentiment in particular and outlook, how trading is going to be over the next 6 months. I'm speaking to BlueScope Steel's boss, Mark Vassella, later today, and his business sells a lot of their steel products into the Chinese market, and sort of expecting him to say that the company's probably going to take a little bit of a hit from this coronavirus and dipping sentiment there from China. And then later in the week, we've got Harvey Norman, one of the biggest retailers, and JB Hi-Fi 2 weeks ago mentioned the coronavirus, saying it was affecting their suppliers in China, electrical goods suppliers. It'll be interesting to see whether Harvey Norman is seeing the same effects 2 weeks later.
I would have thought that they would. Wouldn't you think?
Surely they're going to have to say something on the virus.
And it wouldn't be just those companies. There'd be so many.
Yeah,
who buy out of China at the moment.
Well, that's right. I mean, JB Hi-Fi even said suppliers that supply companies with tiny little electrical parts to people like Samsung and Apple, they're the ones that are getting affected, and it's going to affect the larger businesses and then trickle down to Australia.
Even with a big company like Apple, are we already starting to see that supply chain effect? I mean, and the delays in getting iPhones here. Anecdotally, my brother says his iPhone is running late.
That's right. Yeah, look, Apple has been affected by the virus. Its shares actually fell 2% on Friday on the NASDAQ, and that's... yeah, it's starting to come down a bit from its high price.
They can probably afford a 2%
but even they could do. But 2% is a big slice of that company, right? Yeah.
It is. It was a big fall, and that really brought down the American tech stocks on Friday.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. I mean, it's not just Australia who are being hit, but it's whatever country buys out of China.
Yeah,
So
correct.
really much could lead to something of a global slowdown
Yeah.
when it comes to the economy anyway. Ed Boyd, appreciate it.
You'll be all over
Thank
it
you.
for us. Thank you.
Yeah.